Hi there, troopers. I'm here today, your faithful host, as always, Will, with another it is exciting, isn't it? Exciting installment of Drinking Alone in the Dark. Today, I'm doing, dark-ish beers. So, here's the story. In Oregon last year, when Widmer released its Black IPA, there was big national controversy for like 12 people. And I was one of those 12. There was great heated discussions, a seminar, no, a summit meeting, and so many things that were so very exciting to so few people. Essentially, what it was is there was a debate over three names that were being used. Three, as many, one, two, three. Three names. There was and I will tell you about them in order of receding ridiculousness. The first one, the Black IPA. They call it Black IPA because essentially it was an IPA that was black. Haha. But this name didn't make any sense at all because, well, it had black and pale in the same name. Yeah. It's like saying, they might as well just call it the Michael Jackson for all that it was worth. I mean, black and pale. No sense. None at all. So they thought to themselves, well, I'm going to call it the IBA, the India Pale Ale. Or the India Black Ale. Sorry. Now, this didn't make any sense to a lot of people because obviously it had nothing to do with India. They'd never had hoppy black ales. So, once again, no sense was made. Then some people thought about it and said, well, why don't we call it the CDA, the Cascadian Dark Ale? It would be a dark beer with hoppiness, much like the sort of hoppiness of your IPAs, your American IPAs. It would be, citrusy, it would be bitter, and it would use dark malts, not roasty malts, but dark like chocolate and maybe some dehusked, so some non-astringent, non-roasted, non-bitter dark malts. And so they decided to call it the CDA. Now, there was a lot of debate over this style, of course, because um, they didn't know if they wanted to name it regionally after the Northwest region. Now, admittedly, all of the hops that come out of this region are what stylize American beers now. I mean, the Cascade hop was made at the OSU laboratory, and from it, the Centennial, Chinook, Amarillo, Citra, Simcoe, and whatever else hop goes into the IPA. When we talk about Cascadia, we're talking about Oregon, Washington, Northern California, Idaho, and whatever else. And that's sort of the region that this hop comes out of. And, this is where the big hoppy beer revolution comes from. So they wanted to call it the Cascadian Dark Ale because it had that hop presence, much like the Cascadian region is known for, but then it was also dark ale. There was debates because some people thought that this beer originated firstly on the East Coast, which and there were accounts of it in the early 90s as well. There were accounts on the West Coast of it coming out in the early 90s of someone doing a dark hoppy ale. So there were a lot of debates, and people really came to no consensus, except that perhaps with a black IPA, they're just doing an IPA and then adding black food coloring for some reason. And for a CDA, it's got more of a dark malt presence, much like you will get with a stout or a porter. What it really came down to is that there was a name that no one was using, which was ABA, American Black Ale, because it uses all American ingredients. America does not have a standardized black ale style, and all the processes and, well, mainly the hops are American, the malt's American, the yeast is American, the water is American, everything is American, and it's a black ale. So when you go out there into the world and you say, oh, look, a CDA, black IPA, blah, 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 ABA, proper term, ABA, all-encompassing, essentially a hoppy dark ale. if it's black food coloring in it, or if it's a full-bodied, uh, rich with the dark malts, an ABA. Alright, so now you know. So, to today's beers. Um, Two beers that fall under the category of ABA, because what else we're going to call them. First off, we're going to be doing the Sinistor Black Ale from 10 Barrel Brewing out there in Bend, Oregon. Now, when I went onto their website to find out more about this beer, what I found out is that it is in Bend, Portland, Salem, and Eugene on draft only, and that's it. And so this bottle can't possibly exist. And so this beer that I just poured out of this bottle also cannot possibly exist. Which is pretty fucking funny. Oh man, it's got some like it smells like toffee. Yeah, it smells like toffee with a little bit of hop bitterness behind it. This beer won the bronze medal at GABF in 2009, and that was the last time they updated their website. So, get back to work, boys and girls, or whoever works at that brewery. Update your website, please, because I want to know more about you, and it is not a good idea to trust bloggers. Never trust bloggers. Never! Never! But back to this beer. It's just like liquid toffee and a little bit of hop bitterness. It's if you can't see it, it's clear, got great garnet highlights, and it's brown, but not black. It says it's a black ale. It's not black. It's brown. It's only 5.3% alcohol. And it's a really wonderful beer. I mean, it's got a lot of richness and sweetness to it, but it's not cloying, nor is it roasted, nor is it chocolatey, nor is it coffee-like. It's all around. It's a lot like an American brown ale, a dark American brown ale, but not hoppy. The IBUs are kept down pretty well. Don't know why they call it an American black ale. It's not in the slightest bit black. No, not even remotely. But besides the nomenclature, it's a wonderful beer, and I would recommend it. The second beer we will be doing today is from a brewery that, well, everyone knows because, well, they're one of the biggest breweries to come out of Oregon. Full Sail, Bump in the Night, the 2011 Brewmasters Reserved, which is going by the name Cascadian Dark Ale, which, as you now know, is a slight misnomer, or maybe it's not, but it is the best of the three names that was being debated upon. Can't tell you much about this beer. 6.5% alcohol, it's about 40-something IBU, and it's a Cascadian Dark. Well, it's not dark. I mean, it's darker than brown, but definitely lighter than black. By the way, my shirt is black, and this beer is brown. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's whatever. Man, the hop smell you get off of this is fantastic. It is awesome. It's it's citrusy. It's just like a wallop, just like being hit over the head with a bag of lemons. Man, it is good stuff. And the taste is all right there with you. Man, it's a really good beer. I'd put it more in line with like American Brown Ale, but like a really hop-forward, not too bitter, dry, but really citrusy, hoppy American Brown Ale. This is what American Brown Ale should taste like. I wouldn't put it in the CDA style because it doesn't have that roastiness, nor does it have any of the chocolate malts or color. I mean, obviously it's brown, it's not black, so it's not really a dark beer. It's just more like a medium beer. Mm. But it's wonderful, all the same. So, those are two beers I have for you today. CDA Black IPA, IBA, most importantly ABA. Go out and drink all you can, and form an opinion. Start conversations and dialogues on this sort of thing, because that's what we need at this point. I mean, we can't just have a fad and a trend go for a few months and then no one, talks about it. We really just need people to go out there and brew up these things and then form up their own opinions, because obviously I'm one voice in a million, 100,000, billion, jillions, drunk people. And so we need more people like that who are willing to go out there and talk about it. So, that's all I have for you today. Go out there and keep drinking alone in the dark.